Hey everyone, welcome to Coasters and Community. This is your host, Aaron Johnston. And if you're an influencer, a creator, a vlogger, a planner, or anyone in the theme park community looking to build a brand there, this is the podcast for you. In this episode, we sit down with Legend. Legend is a YouTube vlogger and produces all of his content under the brand In the Loop. He's one of my favorites, and I'm excited to talk with him about what he's done to build his brand. Let's get going. Legend, thanks so much for being on. I guess to get us started, tell us a bit about In the Loop and who all's involved in that.
Yeah, well, we've got a team. So we got a couple different guys. On the YouTube side, it's mostly myself, Hyde, Ranger, who does a lot of great water park stuff for us.
Yeah.
And on the podcast side, it's me, Hyde, Drew the intern, not really involved too much with the YouTube side anymore, but he will pop on the podcast. And we do some couple of other guys that'll make more sporadic appearances, like Clint, Kenny, Jaquana, but they're more kind of bit players and the occasional cameo from them.
Okay, gotcha. So that gives us some context. Let's go back in time a bit. How did you become interested in theme parks?
Oh man, that's it's just one of those things. I've always loved theme parks. I really got to thank my mom and dad. Growing up, I grew up on Long Island in New York,
Okay.
so I grew up going to all the time. Like during the summer, we'd end up going to Adventureland a couple of times a year on Long Island, Coney Island right there. Once a year, we get to go to Great Adventure. Maybe every other year, we go to Hershey Park. I was lucky enough; my grandma lived in Florida. So like many people from the Northeast, during the winter time, that February break, we'd always go visit grandma in Florida. And when that was always like one of the most stressful times for me because she lived over like north of Tampa.
Yeah.
So we always went to Busch Gardens every trip down there.
Yeah, of course.
But I got to pick every year only one Orlando theme park to go to.
Oh, dude.
And that decision of which one was going to be the Orlando park this year was always, very kind of stressful. Like, oh, this is new, but this is new. Oh, but I love this one. What do we do? But I guess it really like my love of theme parks come from that. It's always something I've been interested in. And, kind of like my parents taking me those places when I was little and me just, falling in love with that kind of environment and the new rides and the dark rides and the roller coasters, the fun food. And that always being like those days that I would look forward to.
Yeah.
That day when you get to go to the theme park and ride the new ride and ride your favorites was just always something that fascinated me. My brain fixated on it, couldn't wait for it, and loved it whenever it came.
Yeah. Yeah, same thing for me. And I guess for me growing up, I'm guessing the same for you. It wasn't a situation where you could just wake up in the morning and say, hey, I'm going to a park.
Yeah, like I was not lucky enough to live right by any of the theme parks, and even something like Adventureland on Long Island. It's a pretty small park,
Yeah.
and it's not something that ever really sold. I think they might sell annual passes now, but back then they didn't. And it was pretty small. Like I don't know if you'd want an annual pass to Adventureland because it's one or two roller coasters
Yeah.
and that same old dark ride over and over again. Once I turned driving age, then it was on. Then it was Six Flags annual pass, making that drive from Long Island to New Jersey, 5, 6, 7 times a year to check out all the rides over there.
Yeah. Yeah, not to get off down a rabbit hole, but like for me growing up, when you said theme parks and you said amusement parks, based on kind of where I live and have lived all my life down here in the Southeast, it's always been the Orlando parks and then some mix of Six Flags over Georgia, and maybe Dollywood. Really wasn't that big at the time when I was growing up. But that was kind of my concept of theme parks. When I go back and when I see all the parks that you and Molly vlog from, you forget how many parks there are in North America, large and small, just absolutely all over the place. It's insane.
Like you look at like the Northeast and all the big hitters, but then when you start thinking about like all the small parks that are up there, there's you get into probably 40 or 50 of them.
Oh, it's nuts. So, and I hadn't done this with anybody else, but I do want to stop and do take a dirt road because I want to know, what is your favorite theme park?
Me, I'm I'm kind of typical. My favorite theme park out of all the ones I've been to is the original, the Disneyland out in California.
Okay.
I love the Disney parks and I love pretty much all theme parks. But that one, the collection of rides they have out there in that one park is just so gigantic.
Yeah.
And, it's just some of the best dark rides in the world. You get kind of like that warm, fuzzy feeling of walking down Main Street. You get the nighttime spectaculars with, at some point, Fantasmical come back and the fireworks. the parades, the dark rides, the food. So for me, it is Disneyland, and they're always doing something new and interesting out there. Like there's always some sort of special event coming or going, or they're building something. And so, it's Disneyland for me. A very close second is Europa Park over in Germany.
That's interesting you say that. I was looking at some stuff online last night. My brother is going over to Europe, and he asked me, hey, what do I need to hit theme park wise when we go over to like France, United Kingdom, and Europa Park kept coming up. And everything I looked
The only problem with Europa Park, it's not easy to get to. I don't know how this park got so big, being kind of in the middle of nowhere, Germany. But amazing place.
What is the what's a park that you visited for the first time to vlog that surprised you?
I think one of the ones more recently would be Lost Island over in Iowa. I know a lot of people are talking about that, but this was a new park, but it was done up in a very much themed entertainment style with a world-class dark ride, a whole bunch of themed areas of the park. I would say that one was a pretty big surprise for me. As far as recently, especially in the States here.
Or what is your favorite coaster?
My favorite coaster, again, I'm kind of basic on this one, Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point. The answer a lot of people have, that is my favorite, is, I like, a big thing for me on roller coasters is visuals. And I think the visuals of that ride with the lake right there and going through that giant superstructure over and over again. And it's a really long ride. That for me that's my favorite.
Is anything a close second?
Terron and Fantasyland is my second favorite.
I've seen POVs of that.
That's a beautiful roller coaster.
So let's get into kind of what this podcast is more about. How did we get to that how did we get from that love of theme parks to actually creating what we know as today, your brand? And I say your brand is In the Loop your brand, or is it truly a collective kind of thing?
It's a full team effort. I'm more involved than a lot of the guys, but we have our group chats, and we're always talking about, what can we do this? Can we do that? I'm going to shoot this. Maybe I'll shoot this one. And so it is a full team effort here in the Loop. But also, it's as we've I've had the same team for about 5-6 years now, but as things go, people, they get married, they have kids, they don't travel as much, they get big time promotions at work, and that takes away time. So we're all friendly, we're still all part of the team, but just some of us are now more involved than others.
So I guess when we say for the duration of this, I guess when we say let's talk about your brand, or we're referencing your brand, I'm just gonna assume your brand is In the Loop, all right? Just so we can get some context. So In the Loop, what platform were you guys on initially? Has it always been YouTube?
No, originally we were a podcast. We still are a podcast.
Okay.
But and originally, I didn't start the podcast. That was a Clint Novak and Will Holder. Okay. They started the podcast back in 2006, 2007, somewhere in there. So, it's us and Coaster Radio as sort of the old men in the roller coaster and theme park podcasting game.
I was going to say,
but they started it. Eventually, our paths crossed. I got involved in the podcast, and then I don't think we started the YouTube until about 2009, 2010. Okay. And it was just kind of an extension of the podcast. Like we could talk about, things in that. And then obviously that became, over this, it's been 14 years, but that's become more of a focus as, that's grown, so well.
Yeah. I had no idea that started as a podcast. That's interesting.
Yeah. Coaster Radio likes to say they are the original theme park podcast. And we like to say we are the longest running theme park podcast because we did not take their year break.
How did you hook up with those guys, or how did you become connected in the
I think I just they were going to Cedar Point and I was going that weekend, and we just met up and hang out.
I gotcha.
And it's the kind of thing they're not really involved too much with the brand anymore, but we're still all friends. I hung out with Clint and his wife when I was up in King's Dominion. Yeah. Will lives down here in Orlando, and I see him all the time at local wrestling shows of all things. Nothing to do with theme parks.
So when you connected with those guys within the Loop, what was your goal at the time? Did you have one?
Not really. We were just kind of wanted to kind of make the podcast just like you and your buddies are sitting there at the dinner table or at the bar talking about theme parks and roller coasters. And that was just you do something that you enjoy. If people watch or listen, that's cool, but make sure you enjoy it first.
How did you kind of pivot over to the YouTube vlogging?
Well, with that, I actually, before I did In the Loop, I had a video podcast called the Walk in the Park podcast, which is just exactly as it sounds, walking around theme parks with the camera.
Yeah.
And that was all the way back in like 2007.
Yeah.
And then once YouTube came more larger, when we started the YouTube channel over there in 2009, that's when we started trying to brought that content there, and we started, construction updates, shenanigans, park tours, that kind of stuff, and just kind of fell into it.
Where did a walk in the park come from? What made you want to do that?
Just it was something that I wanted to see. Pretty much, you always kind of write the book you want to read, and that's it's not something I saw a lot of video content out there on the internet back in 2006, 2007 when I was doing that.
You definitely didn't in 2006, 7. So.
No, and the quality is not good looking back on it. I got some of the old stuff, and oh man, it looks like I filmed it with a potato.
Sure, it's amazing, isn't it? How far it's come, just even in that short period of time. Man, what's your favorite? Let's just stick with the vlogging. What is your favorite? And a lot of times yours is, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of it is still kind of walk in the park type of content.
Oh, absolutely. Right? Yeah.
What's your, is that, do you truly love that more than anything else as far as content you publish?
Yeah, doing the theme park videos is always fun. It's sometimes it's daunting because you have the idea of like you're at the park for fun, and then you have to take a chunk of your day out to sort of film the content. So there's always that in the back of your mind, like, oh, well, I'm waiting for this flat ride to go, but I could be, riding this roller coaster right now. Yeah. So there's always kind of, that tug in the back of your head, like push and pull of one side, like, oh, we should be having more fun right now.
Do you, for you, what do you think the key is to the success of those videos that you publish? I think I know what it is, but what do you think it is? What makes the videos that Legend produces for In the Loop? What makes those special relative to any other person, you think?
Do you know what? When it comes to why the videos, like I talked about earlier, you kind of post the videos that you want to see, and that's always my goal. When I go to a theme park, I try to be very thorough. I try to give advice. I personally, it's my style is I don't like the camera pointed at me. If somebody is searching for a video about Six Flags Great Adventure or Hershey Park, they want to see Six Flags Great Adventure or Hershey Park. They don't want to see my mug talking about Six Flags Great Adventure or Hershey Park. It's just kind of my thought, and be very thorough, give honest advice and honest opinions as well. You get into some dirtiness, like we're somebody like we never ask parks for tickets. I'm not really a media day guy. I'll go to maybe one media day a year. So when you're not doing that, you could be a lot more honest. You don't have to worry about can't say that or else we might get voted off the list. Like, no, don't care about the list. Just, put what out there what you want. So yeah, being thorough, being honest. That's kind of the two big things I would see.
Yeah, and just from my perspective, yours is, and again, I'm just telling, this is just my opinion. Yours is a personality. You seem like somebody like, okay, I would enjoy just walking around the park with this dude, right? And so I think that's the draw for me.
Yeah, I think for me too, having Molly in the videos really helps me a lot. Having somebody to bounce ideas off of, and me, also being very much a very different personality where I'm super researched and know everything. I can tell you this manufacturer and how many different turns are on this ride. And she's like, yep, that's fun.
Yeah.
Or no, that one sucked.
You're absolutely right. And that cracks me up because you're right. She'll go that direction. And we always laugh because you're so positive.
Well, I'm positive because I enjoy this stuff, man. That's what it is. I don't want to go to a park and dump all over it because I want to go there. I'm taking time out of my life to go travel across the country.
Absolutely.
Not because the park sucks, because the park's probably got some really good stuff. Yeah. Now, you ride an SLC, you're not going to say it's good because it's not a good ride.
That's like here's how we know. We'll say if Legend says something is not great, we'll say, oof, that must have been pretty bad.
Yeah, I try to be positive, and that's just that it's because I enjoy it.
So, what's been as far as the content you guys produce? Where have you made the biggest strides, you think, since you started back in 06, 07?
Do you know what? It's always trying to find out what hits, and and what doesn't hit. And like I had an idea a couple years ago, like we're on these press lists for zoos. I'm going to throw together cute baby zoo animals of the month, and I'm going to talk about, oh, there's a panda in this zoo, and a baby llama in Germany. That flopped horribly and took forever to put together.
Okay.
And then like something we love is cruise ships, as well as theme parks
Yeah.
and other kind of travel. And that's some of our biggest earners on the channel. It's always the cruise ship videos. So it's kind of throwing crap against the wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you next. What is your most popular content, or has historically been?
It is very varied. Like I'll check out my top 10 stuff right now, and it's going to be all different things. It's
Yeah.
a theme park, a water park, an indoor water park resort, a tourist town, a water park in Texas, another tourist town, a cruise ship.
Have you gotten to a point where though you can say, okay, I'm going to produce a walkthrough of a theme park? Do you feel pretty confident that you're going to hit a certain threshold of views at this point, just based on the number of subscribers that you guys have?
A little bit, but even that, most of my views don't come from subscribers.
Okay.
Like we're lucky we got 115,000 subscribers. A lot of YouTube channels don't have that.
Yeah.
But still, 90+% of our views come from people searching for these topics.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Because you would think, and I'm just thinking of the way that I consume your stuff and consume other vlog stuff. I mean, that's what gets, who we're subscribed to is what we see. So I would have thought that percentage would be higher.
Yeah, do you know what I think it is too, when it comes to In the Loop nowadays, especially on the YouTube side, it's a very varied. It's become more of we kind of transitioned from 10 years ago or 7 years ago, we're theme park, and now we're more general travel with a theme park focus.
Yep.
So it might be a zoo, it might be a museum, it might be things to do in the city, cruise ships, aquariums, whatever. And I think that's part of the reason why we don't have that big sort of mega subscribers where every subscriber watches every video.
Yeah, I got you.
Like some of the other coaster content out there, like Taylor at Coaster Studios, every single thing he posts on that YouTube channel is roller coaster.
No, you're right. It's
content,
very niche. You're right.
And then with us, there's people that subscribe for the zoo videos.
Gotcha.
There's people that subscribe for the cruise ship videos. Some people watch everything. But I think that kind of with that, having all that different content also hurts us a little bit from that subscribers,
I got you.
Percentage.
So you widen your base, in essence, but you may have kind of hurt the niche, kind of your niche market a little bit.
Exactly. Like if I, could go talk to myself like 10 years ago, what I would do is do like something like a What Culture does, where it's like, okay, there would be an In the Loop theme park channel, and an In the Loop zoo channel, and an In the Loop cruise ship channel, instead of our one kind of travel-y mess that we've got going on right now.
What stops you from doing that now?
Just because that threshold is I know what my cruise ships videos are going to do on this. If I go start again somewhere else, that is a giant uphill climb that I don't feel like doing.
That's really what it amounts to. Okay, I got you. Do you guys have any kind of strategy as far as like, when you actually publish your videos, how you tag them, anything like that you've found any kind of correlation to actual view increases?
We generally, with the videos I think have the best chance of hitting, we try to launch them on a Saturday or a Sunday because the views are higher on Saturday or Sunday.
Ah, okay.
And there's more chance of the people are viewing a different In the Loop video that might pop up as, your next video, or YouTube might make you watch that one next. And so we try and drop those on our biggest traffic days.
I got you. Let's talk a little bit in the weeds, if you don't care, just briefly. What are the tools that you guys are using to actually produce your videos?
I am not. If you ever watch the videos, they are not cinematic masterpieces. It's kind of just one shot leads to the other. Yeah. I use a free video editing software called Shotcut.
Okay.
And that's pretty easy to use. I've got a GoPro 8.
Okay.
Which I use on rare occasions, and then my main camera is let me find the name of it here. I think it's camera. Okay, my camera is a Sony FDR AX53, so kind of a handheld camcorder kind of thing,
Yeah.
but with a 4K, a really really strong zoom, bit of a stabilizer in there.
And that's what you're
So
using.
from a
That's what you're
hardware
using from
perspective-
everything. Any
Yeah.
video capture. Do you have an off-board mic that you're using?
No, I got a pretty decent mic on the camera.
Okay. All right. So
There's also like I know like we get some criticism on the videos like, oh, you guys need mics and you need gimbals and that kind of thing, and it's also like that would definitely make a better product,
Yeah.
but also like I'm already weird enough walking around the theme park or cruise ship with a camera. I don't need to look like I'm Scorsese with a gimbal and this kind of thing. Also, that might attract more attention and get people asking more questions. And I just don't need that.
do you typically engage with people at the park? Do people recognize you ever?
Yeah, we get it quite often.
Yeah.
It's sometimes it's in weird moments. Like we were at Busch Gardens Williamsburg recently.
Yeah.
I was drinking my 2 mini free beers
Yeah.
while trying to film the Loch Ness Monster, and somebody walked up and they're like, "Hey man, I watch the videos." Yeah, but it's I would say if we spend a full day at the park,
Yeah.
like 50-50 chance somebody will come over and say hello. Which we always ask like, "Hey, if you watch the videos, come over and say hello.
Yeah.
We'll talk, we'll chat, just like me and you were doing right now."
Yeah, I think back in gosh, when was that? Maybe 2021. Maybe we saw you guys at Dollywood.
Yep.
Which when my wife was like, "Hey, that's Legend." I was like, "Oh yeah, there he is."
And also for us, it's real easy too because there's not really we don't really have characters or shtick on the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Like you could probably attest to it. The person on the YouTube channel is the exact same person.
Oh no, it's
talked to.
same person.
Yeah.
Same person. So okay, well that's cool. How do you, outside of YouTube, do you do any promotion for your videos?
Not really. Like we'll a lot of times with the videos, if I remember when they go live, we'll pump them out there on the Facebook page, on the Twitter feed, to get those audience to know. Okay.
Yeah.
But we not really any like paid promotion or anything.
Yeah. So what, I guess for you, I guess this is kind of personal a little bit. What drives you now? What kind of keeps you going? It feels like, just from my perspective, is you guys are just burning up the road, going places. What is it?
Well,
what is it that kind of keeps propelling you forward?
The main thing is just I enjoy it. Like we just came back from an 18-day road trip. We got to go do some of these amazing theme parks up the East Coast. Went to a bunch of zoos I've never been to before, and it's really just like that. I enjoy this. If I didn't like it, then it would feel like work, and it doesn't feel like work because I get to go out there and go to these really fun places and do these really fun things.
So is that that's the rewarding part then? I guess doing
absolutely.
it with Molly too. I guess that helps.
Yeah, I have to take trips on my own sometime, and that is not nearly as fun as when I get to go with my partner.
So what's next for In the Loop?
We're just gonna keep rolling. Just keep trying to get as much content out there, go on as much trips as possible, and just keep the ball rolling, keep the momentum going. Continue to build that library of content, and have fun doing it.
So I want to very quickly, I haven't done this with anybody else, but I want to kind of deviate for a second before we wrap up.
Sure.
And I kind of just want to because again, you kind of timeline wise, you've kind of been involved in this in the same period that I have over the years. Just kind of give me your thoughts on the state of theme park social media content today.
Man, it's interesting because like Twitter can occasionally be a dark place.
Yeah.
And but it's kind of all about who you follow, and you don't have to follow people that are negative or weird and stuff like that. And if somebody's negative or weird, just block them. Who cares?
Yeah.
I try not to block anybody, but that's just my take. But if somebody deserves to be blocked, they're being a jerk. You got to do it.
How do you?
It's all about kind of like when you're on social media like that. It's just what makes you happy. That's why you're on this kind of platform, is to give you a smile. Or stay up to date on the news, but just you got to do what's best for you, right?
Yeah. How do you feel like social media has changed the theme park experience?
Oh man, you kind of got everyone kind of posts on social media to say like, look, I'm doing something fun, and I don't know if that's to be like bragging about, oh man, look at this, I'm at Disneyland and you're at work.
Yeah.
Ha ha.
Yeah.
or what is that kind of thing. But there's also people that do kind of dumb stuff, like the guy that hopped in the alligator pit at Busch Gardens, Tampa,
Sure.
because he wanted to post it on his social media. Now there's this big ugly fence in front of the alligators at Busch Gardens, Tampa, because one guy was a jerk.
Sure. No.
So you do have that dark side and dumb people, doing things for clicks.
No, I'm with you. I think on the whole, it's a positive thing. I mean, just from again, I told you early on, parks that that wouldn't have got a lot of publicity and a lot of reach, they have that now, or have that capability now.
Oh yeah.
I know about things that I never would have known about pre-social media.
And one of my favorite things for social media, especially, we've got a little bit of following within the loop, is that I could go on there and say, hey guys, going to Asheville, North Carolina. I have never been. What do I have to do? Like, what is the best restaurants? What are the best breweries? And then the people that watch the content, they kind of know what Molly and I might like, and they'll send in like all these suggestions of, oh, you've got to go to this brewery, and then you got to go to this sake bar that doubles as a nightclub, and all these things that I would not have found on my own. That's one of my favorite things about having the social media platform.
Yeah. Well, so just wrapping up with a couple of quick things. So when someone, experiences one of your videos, engages with you on Twitter, what do you hope those people take away from that experience with your brand?
For me, Molly and I were super lucky. We get to travel all the time. A lot of people don't.
Yeah.
And, they might watch an In the Loop video on a cruise ship or a theme park because that is their one vacation, maybe for a few years. What I want them to take away is that they learn something from that video that is going to make their vacation better. What
kind of tips or advice would you have for somebody starting out today, kind of wanting to do the same thing you guys are doing?
Well, first of all, you got to do it because you like it. It's got to be something that you're going to have fun doing. You don't want to try and get 1 million followers. You don't want to try and make money off of it. You've got to do it because you enjoy it. That would be one thing I would tell somebody. And I would also say, try and be original. There are a lot of channels. There's a lot of podcasts. And you don't want to be, kind of just copycatting somebody else. Be the first you, not the 800th them.
If you're looking to plan an upcoming theme park vacation to places like Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Universal Orlando, to name a few, reach out to me. I'm a theme park travel planner and would love to get you started with a free vacation quote. Contact me at Next Stop Aaron on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or at my blog, nextstopaaron.com. It was great catching up with Legend today. He makes it all sound easy, makes it look easy, but I know he puts a lot of work into the videos that he produces for his YouTube channel. So make sure you go to YouTube, search In the Loop, and give him a subscribe. You won't regret it. Next week, we head back to the world of theme park travel planning with a different approach to brand building than what we discussed with Rachel Cosgrove, the travel planner, in episode 7. So be sure to come back, and I think you'll enjoy it.